Hey guys, welcome back, Modest Means. Today we're here with Gregor, a local computer aficionado. He's going to help us out get the computer working. I've been having quite a few computer woes in the respect that when I go to edit the videos, the computer gets bogged down to the point that it's jumpy, and the loading preview for the video pad video software program that I use is virtually useless after I get about 10 minutes of video on the computer. So even though I still have a lot of memory in the computer, the thing is just slowed down to the point that it's virtually unusable. And since I've done a few videos now, I think I'm getting spoiled is what it is. So Gregor, welcome. Thank you very much for helping me out again.
You bet, Brian, anytime.
Great. So tell us a little bit about your background and what you do.
I have been an IT guy for about 20 years. My full-time job is working for a local architecture firm, handling their IT needs. And most of my training was on-the-job training. My initial bachelor's degree through UNM was in marketing and communications, so I didn't really have any computer knowledge when I entered the industry, but I entered it at the right time and learned a lot. And recently I completed a Master's of Computer Science in cybersecurity. So I did that primarily to enhance the skills for my existing job. I didn't do it so that I could go get a better job. I did it so that I could do my current job better. And security is a huge and looming thing, and I realized that I needed a higher level of knowledge in order to effectively protect the company that I work for. So,
excellent. Yeah, one of the classes that Gregor took as part of his master's was white hat hacking,
yes,
which I thought was fascinating.
It was. That was actually one of the cooler classes.
Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, I actually got certified as a white hat hacker, and everybody knows the term hacker as sort of the bad guys who are sneaking into your computer and doing terrible things. Well, you need the good guy equivalent of a hacker who understands the technology, understands how these people are gaining access to computer systems, so that you can effectively protect against it or plug the holes. So that class taught me a lot of the same means and techniques that these attackers use, so that I could better protect computers that I'm responsible for against it. So that was really interesting.
As I had mentioned before, when I try to edit the videos, the computer is just slowed down to the point that it won't play the videos anymore. Even the raw footage that I have offloaded from the video camera or from the GoPro camera. So Gregor has a few ideas as to how to get an older computer, like I have, the Dell, to perform a little bit better. So please take it away.
So let me talk a little bit about what you've got, Brian. You've got an Optiplex 760. A fairly decent machine. It is probably 5 years old. A Core 2 Duo processor, so your processor, which is sort of the brains of the unit, is several generations back. That's probably not your bottleneck in terms of the slowness when you're editing your video software. The problem that you're having is twofold. You only have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and RAM is sort of the active memory that your computer uses to process the changes that you're making right now. As opposed to the hard drive memory, you have a terabyte hard drive in here, so that is more the static storage space. How much data can your computer hold altogether?
Right.
You've got plenty of hard drive space, but you're probably using up all of your RAM when you're editing your videos. The other problem that you're having is that you're using an onboard video card, which means that all of your video processing is happening from your primary processor. It's being shared. Your processor is sharing tasks for your video editing and for running the operating system and your virus software and whatever else you've got going on. So it's really taxing the system when you're doing this. So two things that we can do today is increase the amount of RAM that you have in your machine, and I've got some RAM for you in this box right here.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. Pardon the interruption, but I'm glad you mentioned that because the RAM, random access memory.
Correct.
I
Random
thought
access
was
memory.
definitely low.
Yes, it is. You only have 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Okay.
Your motherboard probably tops out at 16 gigabytes.
Okay.
Today I have, let's see, what do I have in here? I think I've got another 8, but we're going to actually only get you to 12 today because of the way that the RAM combinations are going to play out. The other thing I have for you is an actual separate video card. So instead of being shared, this video card will do its own graphics processing. And you will no longer need to borrow from your primary processor.
Good. After this upgrade, I'll have 12 gigabytes of RAM?
You'll have 12 gigabytes of RAM.
Okay, up from 8.
Up from 8,
okay.
That's correct.
All right.
And you'll have a dedicated graphics card,
okay.
which your graphics processing will definitely take advantage of.
Okay.
And I think you'll notice a pretty dramatic difference in how your videos, particularly when you're editing them, perform.
Okay.
So
wonderful. Would you like to show everybody what that looks like?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
So
that's a graphics card.
This is the graphics card, and again, this is an older unit, but it still works perfectly fine. And the beauty of it is that it's free. I actually pulled this out of a machine that we had at our office that was destined for to be recycled.
Right.
So this is still perfectly good, and it'll help you out a lot instead of just getting thrown in the landfill or being recycled. So this is a AMD Radeon card. You can see here it's got its own processor and its own cooling embedded on the card itself.
Okay.
And
want to hold that up a little bit?
Sure.
There you go. Yeah, beautiful. All right.
The inputs on it are HDMI and DVI. DVI stands for Digital Video Interface. So those are some pretty common inputs.
Excellent.
I did not look. I hope that your monitor will support a DVI input. If not, then we'll need to get a new cable.
Okay.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Excellent. Now, you did mention off the air that these components could be purchased used.
Yeah.
In a
so
mom and pop shop, is that
they
what you
could
said?
they could be purchased used or new. I mean, you're
Okay,
not going to get an older video card several generations old at Best Buy or Office Depot, but you could get a new version of the same thing.
Sure.
Which, granted, would be a little bit better, but it's going to cost you, probably $30 or $40. Video cards you can easily spend $700 or $800 or more, $3,000 if you wanted to, on the really high-end video cards where they're doing like virtual reality rendering and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But for your needs, this should make a pretty dramatic difference.
Okay. I did price one at a local shop, new, $60. And the next step up was $300.
Yeah.
And then he went into the $1,500
Yeah,
range.
they can get really expensive really fast.
Definitely.
I don't think you need that for what you're doing.
And some of this had to do with gaming.
Yes. Gaming...
is that creation of the games or playing the games? Or
both. Oftentimes playing the games, though. Gamers, there's a lot of real-time rendering that happens when you're playing a video game, especially a more modern video game.
Okay.
So the views are changing very, very, very rapidly, and they need to render quickly in order to present a realistic view for the gamer. So gamers typically need very high-end video cards.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, lag time when you're playing a video game is bad. That's when you get killed and all your friends don't, and you're like, oh man, lag.
When you're playing other people through the internet.
Yeah, through some sort of an online gaming.
Great.
Exactly. This is the RAM that we're going to be installing. These are both 4 gig sticks of RAM. You currently have 4 RAM slots on your motherboard, and it's totally filled. Each slot has 2 gig sticks in it, so you have a total of 8 installed. What we're going to be doing is pulling out 2 of those 2 gig sticks and replacing them with 2 4 gig sticks, bringing you up to a total of 12.
Right.
If I had 4 4 gig sticks, we'd probably be maxing you out, but I didn't have any more, so we're doing what we can.
Yeah.
If you need more, then I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Thank you very much. All right.
So I think we're ready to open it up. We need to shut the computer down and crack open the case, and we can go ahead and install this stuff.
Great. And I had asked Gregor about this a couple of days ago on the telephone. After you physically install this, you have to let the computer know that you've put some new pieces in, some new components. And how is that done?
To some degree. The computer BIOS, the very most basic operating system on the computer, which is actually stored in the processor, it's going to recognize the RAM, the additional RAM, right away. There's nothing that we're going to need to do.
Okay.
We'll probably get a message on the one of the initial screens saying that the amount of RAM has changed.
Right.
And we'll just have to accept that change, and that's fine because we did it. We know that happened.
Sure.
And that's it. We're done with the RAM. RAM is driverless, meaning you don't have to load any additional software to enjoy the benefits of the upgraded RAM. The video card is a little bit different. The video card does have drivers associated with it, and the driver is essentially a software bridge that tells the computer what we just loaded, and it will function, and that's what will allow it to function properly. So we will be needing to load drivers after we load the video card. We'll probably do it in 2 steps. I don't like to do too many things at once because then if something goes wrong, you don't know if it was bad RAM or a bad video card. So we'll put the RAM in, fire it up, make sure that it works, and it sees the new RAM, and then we'll shut it down, we'll put the video card in, and load up the drivers, and we should be good to go at that point.
Makes sense. Good. That's a lot like working on automobiles.
Yeah, you don't want to do
one step
too much.
at a time.
Don't do too much.
Make sure the car still runs after you do the spark plugs and wires before you start with another part of the engine. Now, as far as the drivers go, that'll be something that you bring into the computer from the internet. Is
That's
that right?
correct. We should be able to download the drivers. I have a USB key that I preloaded with, I think, the correct drivers. We'll give it a shot. I thought that you had Windows 10 loaded, so I might have gotten the wrong drivers, but we'll give it a shot. They might they might work for both Windows 7 and Windows 10. This computer is Windows 7.
Okay.